Hello and welcome back to my channel. I just finished seeing a lot of different groups over the last 2 weeks on different tours, traveling to different places, and Secret Number was my final one, and now I get a bit of a break about a month before the next concert, the next onslaught of concerts, and I thought that, man, this year I have recorded a lot of really great footage and have experienced a lot, and when I'm at these shows, it's always my intention of, I'm going to make some content out of this in the future. I'm going to, make a concert experience video. I've done it a handful of times in the past, but I always just delay it too much. And then I'm like, it's been already a month. I can't go back and do it, but I'm going to go back and do a lot of those, I think, over the next month or two. If I were to speak honestly, I would say that this show out of all of them was the most that I was unsure about. Secret Number is a group that I absolutely do like, but I check them out so infrequently because they release not a ton of music, only single comebacks, which I always gripe about, and even their last one was a year ago at this point in August. I had missed that and just checked it out before seeing them live, so check that reaction out if you have not seen it. So it had been a really long time for me, and I'm like, I don't know what my connection is with this group exactly, and it's always really great when you can go to a show and they just completely blow your expectations out of the water. So I'm going to have a lot of footage, mostly just different clips that you can kind of experience my experience alongside with me if you did not get to see them on tour. Really quick, before we get into the footage, I just want to talk about the promoter real quick. I've seen so many tours in the last few years that I feel like I have a good foundation to talk about promoters and how they differ from one another. This was done by Studio Pav. This was my first concert with them. I've done Leo Presents, I've done My Music Taste, I've done From. All of them, their benefits kind of differ from each other, their pricing differs and what's included, and I'd say that with some promoters, it's worth it to go for VIP experiences, and for others, it's not. I would say that the one that it is least worth it for is someone like From. I think that the way that they handle a lot of their benefits is just not great and just not worth it. I'd say Leo Presents is by far my favorite promoter in terms of handling the crowd, funneling people in and out. They're fantastic. Studio Pav, I'd say, was actually surprisingly better than I expected. The only factor is that they monetize literally everything, whereas Leo Presents, you get that everything ticket. You get all of the VIP benefits, you get the selfie photos with the members, everything included from that one price. You also get the entry fee just in that one ticket. It's all just cohesive. Whereas with Studio Pav, you need to not only buy your VIP package, you also need to buy GA, which I didn't realize until I showed up to the event that I hadn't gotten mine already. So I bought it on my phone real quick. And then all the selfie photos are piecemeal that you have to buy separately from even the VIP experience. It makes it really confusing. It makes you have a ton of different tickets to scan, and especially because I bought them on separate email accounts, it made it just a little rough. And it's also more expensive in that way that you have to buy piecemeal photos per member for the Polaroid snapshot, which is like a physical Polaroid that you'll get, as opposed to Leo Presents, where it is like a selfie that you'll take with the member on your own phone. One thing I would say that I actually really do love about Studio Pav is that your order and how you're lined up is guided by this right here, which is your queue number, which you get right when you purchase your ticket. Basically, it is the order of VIP purchasers where you will be lined up and where you'll eventually go into the venue. So as you can see, I was very on top of it for Secret Number, so I was number 6. So my thing is that if you can take out me lining up 8 hours early like some people will do, that is fantastic. If I can show up right before I need to do my VIP benefits, meet and greets and whatnot, that is the way to do it. I think that's fantastic. It's still like first come, first serve, whoever can purchase the ticket first, and I was pretty on top of it for them. I didn't know of this at the time, so I'm actually pretty upset that for weekly I'm like 40 something when I would have bought it right away if I had known that. So that is why I have a really great view, and you could also kind of show up when you want almost in this way. So I think that's a huge benefit. Any way that you could make my entire day not revolve around this one concert, I'm a big fan. The last thing I want to talk about before we dive straight into the concert was that this includes a benefit that I have never done before, which I didn't know was included in my package until a couple days prior, and that is the fan chat portion, which isn't like a fan sign that you've done with other groups to where you kind of just really run down the line really fast, say maybe a single word to each member as they sign something for you. That was included in this, but the fan chat instead is kind of like your fan sign you would get, I would think, domestically, to where you sit down for about a minute with each member and go down the line and have a chat with them, which when I found that out, I was like, oh no, I like this group and I know the members, but I don't really know the members super well as opposed to some other groups. So I'm like, what am I going to say? And I started to honestly freak out about this, but I'll say that it is very, very easy once you do it. 1 minute goes by amazingly fast, way faster than you think when you're there in front of them. They're doing this all the time. They're very comfortable at keeping conversation for the most parts. And even if things were to be awkward, they make sure it isn't awkward by their response. They're practiced at this. But also, I didn't shut the hell up. I realized that next time I should let them talk a little bit more than just me talking at them. But I had things loosely prepared for each member. So when I sat down with Dita, I know that she studied in New York. I'm from New York, so I asked her what she missed most about New York City, and we talked about that, basically different shops that she missed, different places to eat, and it was all very natural. Of course, Dita speaking fluent English makes it very, very easy. I knew going in that speaking to Dita and speaking to Ginny would be by far the easiest in terms of, just conversing back and forth with each other. But I thought all the other members were really fantastic too. I thought Minji was really great. Zhu also surprisingly solid English that I did not expect. I'd say that Sudam had probably the least grasp on English, but it was still totally okay. She was definitely the one during the show, like even the performances, that I felt like having maybe a bit more of a grasp on the language would have helped her a long way, because there was a lot of English spoken on stage. The translator they used only spoke very sparingly, so the fan chat went by perfectly. They said they went and ate steak the night prior, and I got little different tidbits from each member. It was really great. I got my signed poster, which I won't show you because it's rolled up and I'm gonna have to frame it, but all the benefit stuff, fantastic. So let's get to the actual concert itself. I didn't film much of the venue itself or the lineup process, but I did get a quick drink on the second floor. This was in the Nectar Lounge in Fremont in Seattle, where I lived for 3 months when I first moved here, when you could probably see a handful of my videos from that time where I was filming in a basement before I had built my desk and had this new PC and everything. And it was a very haphazard time in early 2023, but that was around that area. It was actually a really nice venue. So had a quick drink, and then before I knew it, the show was starting, and I was right in front row with my number 6 queue, and they opened with Who Dis. I feel like everyone experiences concerts differently, and it varies from person to person, your personality, and also the type of music that you're seeing. I am not someone that really yells at concerts. I don't get loud. I kind of just vibe with the music to myself pretty insularly, if that makes sense. I'm not super outwardly expressive at K-pop shows, I would say, unless it's like, hey, this is the hype song I'm here for. This is one of my favorite groups where I can't really help it, or I've had a couple drinks, one or the other, who knows. But when it came to this, I didn't expect to be very loud, but I felt almost compelled and forced to. This was at a pretty small venue. This is considered a showcase tour. I think that this is the first under like the showcase label banner that Studio Pav has done for their tours. So I think these are supposed to be a bit more affordable, a bit more small scale. If you look at the pricing, say for Weekly, which is like properly under Studio Pav with their, namesake and not the showcase label, everything is more expensive. The photos, the selfie photos are like twice the price. So this is made to be just smaller scale, and it is a small venue. And I thought the girls did a great job filling that space. But me being in the front row, you just have this kind of energy that you need to give back to them, because you fall into a crowd in a big arena, a big space, to where I feel like you become maybe more comfortable to yell out because you just blend in with everyone else. But something about seeing them so close, and I feel like I need to support them vocally and outwardly show my appreciation for the performance. So if you hear a couple of woos here and there, it's something that I normally don't do, and I'm pretty like silent as I record footage from concerts and everything, but kind of couldn't help myself a little bit here.
We've been dreaming to come, right? So, yeah, are you guys ready to have fun?
And in tandem with being such an intimate small venue and being so close, man, do you just pick up on all of their facial expressions as they perform. And they were really having a ball. One of my, I think, big takeaways from this show was that you look at kind of a relatively small audience, you look at a very humble venue, yet they filled it. They acted as if they were performing to an arena. The size of the venue did not supersede their will to perform for the crowd. One thing that the members mentioned a lot during the fan chat was that they didn't have a ton of time at any of these tour dates, these locations. So they didn't get to see a lot of the sites for the most part, but they did ask the crowd, like, what's cool to check out here? What should, we look into if we did have more time? For some reason, people said the University of Washington. I don't know why. I mean, I guess they are students there, and that's why they brought it up.
University, right? Oh, university? Is it like a good site? Yeah. Oh. Are you from there? Are you just like promoting?
I saw that at some dates they were doing solo special stages, but at our date they did a group special stage that was very short but still a fun watch, and I think it's Nicki Minaj. I don't know, don't ask me, but here it is.
Let's go. Feeling myself. Feeling myself. I'm 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 feeling myself. I was in hood girls looking at that. No bags is a bad habit. I do balls, damn Mavericks. My main back. Jackrabbit, feeling myself, back off, cause I'm feeling myself, jack off. He be thinking about me when he wax off, wax on. That national anthem, hats off. And I curve that nigga like a bad horse. Let me get a number 2 with some max sauce, or on a run tour with my mask off. I'm feeling myself, I'm feeling myself. 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 Cooking up the bass, looking like a killer. He just wanna taste, building up my ego.
I think that when you go to a concert too and take in a lot of these songs live, there are some songs that you were kind of lukewarm on before, but are just much better in a live stage. I always kind of say that for songs that I might not be feeling sitting here at my desk, that I'm like, oh, if I saw a live performance of this, it would be hype as hell. Doomchita was one of those. It was awesome. I filmed some of these clips kind of unknowingly in 8K and at 30 frames instead of 60, so I don't know how this is going to mesh in this whole project. It might look weird, but here's Doomchita. Another great thing about this being a smaller venue, a smaller concert in general, and me being so close is that this was the most interactions that I've ever gotten at a show. I do get a little annoyed as kind of a pet peeve of mine when I'd say K-pop fans specifically just try way too hard and in some ways ruin the experience for other people at the show to get their interactions or get noticed for a second by their favorite member or something. It starts to get a little annoying, but if you could work that in very seamlessly to where it's not disrupting the show and it's not yelling over them as they're trying to speak, I'm all for it, and I got a lot of that. I got a ton of interactions with Dita specifically, and for me, I had to yell out best B-side when Holiday was about to start, because that has always been such a favorite B-side of mine from them. But actually, Crazy Love off of Starlight already, because I checked that out super late and just heard it a handful of days ago, is way up there in the ranks for me too. Which then they had to teach us the challenge for Crazy Love immediately before the song, where I was called out for only doing one cheek puff when you were supposed to grab your cheeks instead of doing both cheek puffs. Dita was very angry about that, and then angry at me and pointed at me specifically when I was filming during the performance instead of actually doing it, which you can kind of see the end of here before I immediately threw my phone down and was like, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, oops. But that's a big takeaway of the show, is that there were so many more interactions than your average one. You felt very much present and there. I mean, hell, I was practically on the stage with them for how close you can get. So it was really, really special for that reason specifically. Even at points where people were calling out their MBTIs and mine was the same as Ginny's, that when I went to take the selfie photo with her all the way at the end of the show, that she remembered me and was like, hey, MBTI buddy. And it just felt a lot more, I don't know, intimate in that way. A really big factor for me was Minji's vocals in this show were really fantastic. She was a big standout vocally for me throughout this entire show, and I still feel like in a weird sense that the two new members added, again, they were added 3 years ago at this point, right? So it still feels for some reason fresh in my head to me, but yeah, it's like I needed to be reminded of this, and she was fantastic throughout the entire show. I'm not positive, but I would assume that this is also the first time this kind of small venue has hosted a K-pop show of all things. You look on their page and it's mostly lots of bands and everything. So there were some technical difficulties at the start. I think Ginny's mic had an issue early on. Dita had her her tape constantly falling off that was had her microphone taped to the side of her face, and just some miscommunication issues, but eventually they really, really settled into the show, and then came the bangers, playing a lot of the big singles. So you had Fire Saturday, you had Got That Boom, and they really just kind of settled into their element.
in your face.
And then really before I knew it, the show was over. I expected an encore. I don't think I've ever been to a K-pop show that didn't have an encore, but I think maybe because of those early technical difficulties, and there were times where some members had to go in the back really quick at the very beginning, and they had to stall for time on the stage. I think maybe it prevented them from doing an encore or something like that. But nonetheless, I thought it was an excellent show. It was really one of those times to where like I'm going in with a group that I do absolutely know and I do like, but they haven't hit like the love stage, like, oh, I would travel like far to see them exactly. But then you just really get to another level when you see any group live, I think. And they were just full of so much personality. They really loved being there. And it's hard to fill a small stage, I think. People talk about, filling an arena kind of thing, but it takes, I don't know, guts to really just look eye to eye to people like right there in front of you in smaller rooms, especially when I feel like in this situation, it's really harder to hide things. You're right there. It's all just out in front of you with them performing. So you see every little blemish or any minor mistake or anything like that, as opposed to it being a bit easier to pass off when you're far away in an arena show or something like that. So I thought they did an excellent job. And I'm hoping that this little taste here of a tour and of the US compels them to release more music, more than just a single. When I came across Ginny, she was at the very end during the fan chat portion at the beginning before the show, and I had told her, I was like, you are very talented. I've always noticed from day one, and I'm really hoping that you do maybe a heavier kind of hip-hop kind of concept to really showcase that a little bit more, or please just have an album. And she's like, yes, the singles. Oh my God, the singles. And I was like, yes, I know. So it was really great to just feel connected to these idols in a different way. I've never experienced something like that. Not just the fan chat, but also that kind of smaller setting to where you are interacting back and forth so often, and you kind of almost build this rapport in a way. And it was just pretty unique for me. So then at the very end of the show, I don't have any footage of it just because I didn't take any of them, taking Polaroids with other people. But you line up and do your Polaroid business, and then I got them here, the physical versions of those. So very cool. I'll put up like a closer, better picture of these. I look thick in these photos. It's reminding me I need to get back to the goddamn gym. Like, I understand that they're all fit as hell and they're a lot smaller in general, but man, I look like a thick, tanky boy. It's unfortunate that you're really limited to just a selection of poses compared to when you do the selfies with, Leo Presents. That here you have to select from just a handful, but I thought some of them were pretty unique, the things that you could do, and you kind of just let them go to the extent that they're like comfortable with. Like, even I ran out really quick and bought an extra ticket because I just had one for Ginny and I just had one for Dita, but I went and bought Zhu as well because I shot her down as they were leaving the stage, and I thought that was cute, and I was like, I want a photo with her, so I did that as well. Finally, I will leave you with some of their goodbyes before they left and final performances, and let me know what you thought of this video, because I have a lot of other concert footage, and what you thought of Secret Number on this tour in general, if you saw them, or if you are a fan of them and want to see them live. I hope I can give you a little bit of a taste in that way. There's part of me that's not, when I go to a concert, is not only like thinking, oh, this can become content, it could become something I can just post on my channel, but also I'm thinking like I'm very fortunate that I do have the ability to travel and see a lot of these different groups all the time, and I would love to be able to like share this amazing experience with people that might not be able to, or maybe they don't tour by you, something like that. So yeah, let me know what you think about me doing a lot of other concert videos in the future. Again, I've done some in the past, but there's really so many of these shows that I've been going to that it's just built this mountain of different concerts. But yeah, I am now a much bigger fan of Secret Number walking out of that show than I was going in. Not to say that I wasn't a fan, but you know, much bigger and have a fondness for the members in a much different way that I think that's kind of the best thing you could really say about coming out of an experience like that.
Hope you guys had a great time as much as we did. Will be the day you can remember when you are feeling down and smile a little bit. Okay? Thank you so much.
시애틀이랑 도시가 너무 아름다운데 그 아름다운 만큼 아름다운 기억을 남겨주셔서 정말 감사드립니다.
I think Seattle is such a beautiful city, and thank you so much for bringing this beautiful experience today.
Every time I perform and I see the smile on your guys' face, it makes me think back and like, oh, I chose the right path. Thank you so much for being the reason that I am happy and that I'm not giving up. So thank you guys all.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for coming today, and yeah, I was so happy because you guys are so sweet. Thank you for making time to come for us, and I'll miss you guys. Thank you so much.
I know you got that. 멈추지 마, 오늘이 마지막